Hello and welcome to an all-new episode of Anime Brain Freeze. We are your Maid Man hosts.
I am John.
And I'm CC. And when there's just too much cool anime to watch, we've got you covered. Today, John will take us to the seedy underbelly of the maid cafe business, which apparently exists and is much more gruesome than anyone would expect in Akiba Maid War. And after that, we will take a look at another bit of corporate warfare, the giant robot kind, in Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury. So get ready for blood, violence, space battles, hostile takeovers, and lots of moe moe kyun kyun, whatever that means. And definitely don't pause the pod, we'll be right back.
Akihabara is the center of the universe for the coolest hobbies and quirkiest amusements. In the spring of 1999, bright-eyed Nagomi Wahira moves there with dreams of joining a maid cafe. She quickly dons an apron at Cafe Ton Toko Ton, aka the pig hut, the pig house, the pigsty, however you want to refer to it. But adjusting to life in bustling Akihabara isn't as easy as serving tea and delighting customers. Paired with the dour Ranko, who never seems to smile, Nagomi must do her best to elevate Cafe Ton Toko Ton over all other maid cafes vying for top ranking. All the way she'll slice out a place for herself amid the frills and thrills of life at a maid cafe. Just when Nagomi's dreams are within her grasp, she discovers not everything is as it seems among the maid cafes of Akihabara. Akiba Maid War is a trip. We'll preface it by saying that, but this is the newest joint produced by PA Works. And
we have talked about them many a times before.
I have said many times, sometimes, that they kind of go really weird or go, just really. They have two moods. Yeah. This is one of them.
I like this mood better than the other one. The other one would be like Irozuku. The slow contemplative mood in PA Works shows always tends to end up in meandering, I don't know, navel gazing, but not really substantial shows where it's like, yeah, it's just girls being sad, but that's kind of it. Not really why. You don't really get, or really, they don't really delve into why and do something interesting with it, at least from what I've seen. So I much more appreciate when PA Works goes full ham, like in this one, or in Appare Ranman, for example.
Or in, or your boy Kong Min. So when they go, they go. And they definitely went with this one. Went into the first episode of this really definitely expecting it to be like, it's going to be one of their working girls series. Like we talked about Sakura Quest and Shirobako.
Which is it kind of is. I mean, it is that.
Yes.
Let's not like it's not only the crazy. It's just like, no, this is also about maid cafes and the things that are usually done at maid cafes, if anime are to be believed, or normal anime are to be believed. Is there such a thing? But what if you've never been to one, you might expect there to be. But, then it's also the other thing.
So Nagomi is this very unassuming young girl, and she just wants to work in a maid cafe. That's okay. That's sure, fine. And she gets hired at the pigsty, pig hut, whatever you want to call it. There seems to be a general non-consensus about what to call it on the internet. Right. The translators called it Oinky Doink Cafe, which I like that name a lot. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I like both. I mean, Oinky Doink gets dropped. Like every maid cafe, well, not every, but a lot of maid cafes in Akiba are themed. Like, I think all of them are themed, but not all of them are animal themed. But a lot of them, because they belong to this particular group, Creatureland, I think they're called.
Yes,
Creatureland
Kedamono Land.
Yeah. And of course, that also brings with it a particular way of speech patterns for each of the maid cafes that heavily relate to their theme. So Yeah, animal themes. So all the maids in the Oinky Doink Cafe or in the pigsty use things that you would relate to a pig, like in terms of saying oink or something like that, or other things. Like a lot of animal puns are in this. Like the subs are doing the Lord's work in this show.
The crew at High Dive go the extra mile when it comes to putting their own twist on the script, and I would say 9 times out of 10 it works pretty well.
Yes, there's some that don't land, but there are also a lot of jokes in there that I couldn't have thought of in a million years. Of like, how did you come up with actually connecting those words to that animal or animal noise? Like, this is genius. This is brilliant. Thank you very much for this, High Dive. So yeah, great job, really. That's definitely one of the things that elevates the series to an even higher level than the whole subject matter and ridiculous concept would on its own. But just having so much ridiculous, dumb puns in there. And I wonder if the dub does as good of a job when it comes to that, because I haven't checked it out.
Yeah, I wonder. I hadn't checked it either, but I would like to see if they kind of keep that same energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Nagomi is this bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. We'll keep with the puns as long as we can. Girl just going to start her first day of work at Oinky Doink Cafe, and she meets up with this. She seems to be a lifer in the maid cafe line of work, Ranko Mannen, but
that's closer to she almost was a lifer. So.
Yes. But Ranko is very, very sort of stern, very stoic, kind of bordering on having this constant 1,000-yard stare, and I wonder why that is.
You don't wonder for long, though.
No. We sort of find out in short order that Ranko was, a maid in her younger days as well. We have to turn the clock back a little bit further. I believe it was to like 1985.
Yeah, she's like, what is she in current time? She's now like at least 30.
She's 35.
35, right. That was like, everyone's of course commenting on that, because a 35-year-old maid, what the hell? Like that is unheard of in this business. Whatever. What are you still doing here? So that was, I mean, kind of demeaning, but also funny. And the way she owns it is really good.
Yeah, she started working at the Handmaid's Tea House with her friend, her buddy, and there's a hit put out on the leader of the cafe.
I mean, we're kind of burying the lead a bit, or we have been, even though it's in the title. But yes, it
is a maid war.
Yes, exactly. It is very much. The anime asks a question: what if everyone in an anime was Roberta from Black Lagoon?
Yes, that's perfect.
At least to an extent. I mean, the real Roberta is Ranko, because she's kind of the only one that is kind of Terminator level skilled in this, where like she can kill like 1 billion people and nothing happens to her, kind of, at least for a while. So yeah, that kind of fits the bill. But everyone, every maid in this has a gun ready and is ready to shoot and mow down other maids, and it's ridiculous. It feels very Yakuza game series-ish in terms of tone and how ridiculous it's just with even more death involved, I guess.
I mean, in the first episode alone, so the manager, the unnamed manager for the entire series of the Oinky Doink Cafe owes the Creature Land group Sweets money. Mm-hmm. What is Sweets money? Shut up! Don't worry about it.
It's protection money, of course it is. That's how this works. And Creature Land is a Yakuza group. It's like a head Yakuza family, whatever, that has sub-families under them. It's the whole... That's just what it is. That's what this show is. It's a Yakuza war, just with maids.
So when a debt collector comes knocking on the cafe door, and he's dressed just like, your stereotypical otaku. You thought he might have looked like an actual character or been inspired.
Yeah, I thought he was a parody of someone from from actual historical Japan in terms of who also was in Sengoku Basara, who was one of the main guys there. I forgot his name. Not Date Masamono, the other guy, the one with the spears and the red headband, whatever.
Yukimura?
Yes. So
yeah, I can kind of see that.
Yeah, but no, that's just that was maybe the inspiration to the guy, but apparently there's like a stereotypical Japanese otaku archetype when it comes to outfit and everything, and having just two giant posters, probably with naked girls on them, in his backpack, sticking out, looking like sword hills or shit. So that's what that guy looks like. But yeah, he's a debt collector for some reason.
Yes. And when he comes knocking, in order to the manager doesn't have the money because she's bad with money and spends it all with everything. She gambles it away.
Yes, she's bad. We get to her maybe a bit later, just her character, when we go into some of the other characters, but she was probably my favorite character in this show. Just saying, because she's horrible. Great. She's a horrible person.
In her horribleness is greatness.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, so when the debt collector comes knocking, he basically says in exchange for not paying what you owe, you got to do us a favor. And they have to make making a delivery to a rival maid cafe, Wuv Moonbeam. That's the name. Welcome to Akiba, everyone. And when they get there and deliver the letter, it, I believe, turns out to be a letter of, proclamation that, all you maids are dead. We're here to kill you dead. Best watch your backs. And they pull out their guns and a big old gunfight ensues right in the cafe. And one of my favorite gags in this whole series is in this moment. Prior to that, Ranko and Nagumi go downstairs from Oinky Doink to get ramen. And they get there and the bloodshed breaks out. And the first girl that Ranko shoots just starts bleeding so profusely. It's absurd. It's comical. It's like Mortal Kombat levels of blood spatter.
It's like 3 giant blood spurts, but with perfect comically timed long pauses in between. Where it's like, you thought that was it, and then comes another one. And you thought that was it, and then comes another.
And it gets all over Nagumi, and she's like, oh, wait. I'm still wearing this smock from when we were at the ramen place, and I'm like, that's so good. That's so good.
Yes.
They go several minutes without addressing that she's wearing this, and then suddenly it's like, perfect. Thank you for bringing it back around.
Yes. She's in shock. That's why she notices at this point, and rightfully so. But yeah, it's funny as fuck. Also, there are small hints even before that things are gonna get super crazy. The biggest thing, and I wish they wouldn't have done that, is that they kind of give away that what the show is in the very first seconds of the show. They do a teaser where you see Ranko's mentor or whatever, old mentor, being shot. And I wish that wouldn't have been in there. I wish they would have started the show like a damn old maid show, like what you expected it would be, right?
Right.
Like just, Nagumi just going out there, doing the job, and then some weird things start happening with the sweets money, and you're like, what is going on here? And then, the owner just talking about miracles and believing that Nagumi can carry out the assignment, which, if you don't know, sounds super benign. But, in the background, already setting up new job recruitment poster.
Yep.
And you're like, what? And then, it gets weirder and weirder. There's this one bunny girl in Wolf Moonbeam that is getting her ponytail cut off and making like this big noise about it, like her fingers getting cut off, because that's what would happen, in the Yakuza world, I guess. So it's equivalent to that. And that it would be more of a slow build towards insanity, while the way they did it here in the first episode, you immediately know what the shit is going on. Mates, and then immediately, one gets off with a gunshot and stuff like that. If that wasn't in there, I felt like the surprise, even though if you look at the title or if you've seen a trailer or whatever, but if you go in completely unknowingly, this would have been a nicer thing. And then, the whole bloody shit erupts, the joke with the blood spurts that you mentioned, and of course, timing the big bloody action scene in the first episode to a bouncy Maid Moe song performed by one of the other maids from Onkido and Yumichi in the cafe is genius. They even time the gunshots, punches, and kicks to the beat of the music.
It's super good.
It's fantastic. It's really, really great. I think only maybe topped by the last musical number in this show, which has a more emotional component to it, I would say. This is, in the first episode, this is just wild insanity and fun times, and then the last one even has, is more tense, I would say, and also you are now more involved with the characters and everything, and it's do or die, whatever. So, yeah, I love them both equally, just for different reasons. Great stuff. Fantastic. And at this point, if you're not on board at this point with what this show is doing, just, I guess, get out, because it's just only gonna get crazier from here on out if that's not your thing. If that ridiculousness is not what you're here for, just leave. I couldn't leave at this point anymore, because okay, all right. You just stop pandering to my very existence. Thank you very much. If this was just, just normal work comedy with mates, I would have been this is, but you do this shit with how they time the music and then to the wild violence and killing spree that Ranko is going on, and all these cute bunny girls just getting slaughtered left and right. You're okay, I'm here for this. I'm fine. I assume this was the same for you, Jen. I mean, you were probably already on board before this, but holy shit, this, yeah.
I mean, if it was, a stock, whatever, working, whatever show, I probably would have been maybe this will be all right. But after that first episode, it's how could you not want to keep going and seeing where the insanity ends?
Yes, exactly. And I feel like PA Works, when they go all in on a particular style thing, right? When they're okay, this is the theme of the show, and we're just gonna go full force ahead, as dumb and ridiculous as it might be, but we make everything fit to this theme. We make the story fit, we make whatever, all the characters, how they behave, everything, the world, the environment, everything, the look of the whole show, we make it fit so that it works perfectly together. They're really good at that. They did it very good, very well in Apparare Runman, doing the all horse crazy racist thing, right? And then theming that Wild Western-ish, and it all works together really well. All these colorful characters. Apparently they did it in Ya Boy Kongming with the whole, club musical thing, but also war tactics, right? And they're doing it here too, because the OP also feels very Black Lagoon-ish.
Yeah, when it starts I couldn't put my finger on it, but you're right.
Yeah, it starts it's the characters walking into the camera in slow-mo, they look menacing and everything. It's this really, this grimy imagery. And then they contrast that with the standard made customer service language that the characters are doing in the lyrics. And then also, a bouncy Moe song at the end that this, dark beat turns into. But it works. It just fucking works. It's oh, this is what the show is. It's crazy bullshit. I love it.
It's into 60s, 70s gangster movie ending theme.
Yes.
So good.
Yes, everything. Everything is styled like the staff roll to a classic gangster movie. The music, even the credits that are written vertically, which you don't really see in anime that much. You know, it's just that the lyrics don't necessarily match the tone, which makes it even better. Like, if you read the first couple of lyrics, hold on, let me get this so I can just read it here. Wait. Another chance to go moe moe kyun. I come to the pigsty for my moe moe kyun. That's my way of life. The one who makes fun of me sees blood. But yeah, you can see the theme. It's ridiculous, and I love it, and I think it's great. And I think they fit everything so neatly into, let's be honest, a ludicrous concept. Like, this shouldn't work on paper, but since it's anime and it's pulled off really well by people who really knew what they were doing and where they wanted to go with this show, it just all works. It just all fits together. It's just like, once you understand what the show is doing, it works. If you have to accept it, and the show will accept you, and you're gonna have a fun time. So yeah, that's how it is. I loved it.
Oh, me too, dude. I didn't really say it, but the show was directed by Soichi Masui, who's worked on some other stuff for PA works, like Sakura Quest in particular, but also did some stuff like Scrapped Princess, Chaika, the Coffin Princess, Brotherhood, Final Fantasy 15, which I don't know about you, I kind of liked that.
Yeah, sure, I like that too.
It's nice to see characters outside of their element. Nice to see an entire story outside of its element as well.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, we talked a little bit about Nagomi and Ranko a bit. But we'll say that the end of the first episode, Nagomi is like, "What am I doing here? I need to get out. I need to go."
Oh yeah, and she's very scared, rightfully so.
Ranko locks the door to their bedroom that she's moved into and says, "You're here now," basically.
Well, yeah, she's not threatening her or anything. She's just like, yeah, this is, you know, you made your choice, kind of. But also maybe Nagomi interprets the thing wrong, and she would be able to leave. But also maybe Ranko knows, maybe if she leaves now after they did that shit, she's maybe, you know, fair game to the other maid cafes, and Ranko couldn't protect her. It could be a bunch of things, right? But Nagomi, obviously, she's the straight woman. Like, she's our view into this crazy world because she's new there and she just wanted to be a maid. And, you know, she's not even that good at being a maid in the beginning, but, you know, she gets slowly getting there and everything, and she has passion for it. But yeah, then all this crazy swerve is thrown her way, and she's like, this curveball is thrown her way, and she has to deal with it. And she kind of does it pretty well. I mean, of course, there's some time she needs to get used to it, but slowly and surely, she finds out that the maid cafe is very important to her and the people that are living there, and that emboldens her and gives her a lot of power, and she's growing and growing over the course of the series. And that's really fun to see. I thought her development was a really good, was really well pulled off.
Yeah, seeing her grow into the job as well as the role was pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought she has one of the most satisfying and most understandable, I guess, and also most tight character arcs in an anime. Like it feels like thought through from beginning to end.
She definitely has a complete arc.
Yeah, and I appreciated that. I liked where she started. I liked how her way, her journey, and I liked quote unquote where she ended up, and you know, in her own way and everything. Fit too, and it's a good character story.
Yeah, the end, not quite the end. Well, you know, where the end of her story within the purview of this show, I sort of alluded to last time that I really liked the way a show we were going to talk about this season ended, and this was it.
Yeah,
this was definitely it.
Yeah, I thought it was great too. Like it felt like a nice exclamation mark on her story at the end there, and how it fit, and you know, everything, how the series built it up and stuff like that. So yeah, it was good. It was really good. I wouldn't personal preference. I wouldn't rank it above Mob Psycho 100. But that's me. That's me. I love Mob Psycho 100 to death, and I felt like I was treated to one of the most perfect endings ever, and for that show, it just gave the extra kick. But just for a one-time thing, which this seems to be, I don't think this will get another season. This feels like one of PA Works' one-time things. As that, it was incredibly well realized, and especially if you consider the ridiculous concept that screams that it would only get just, nonsense characters without any real arcs, and it's just, we're just here for the hijinks. But instead, we get some really good character arcs in this, with Nagumi maybe being the best one, but also maybe Ranko. I'm not sure. We got a couple, like all the main mates, except for maybe Yumechi, because she kind of stays the same person, I feel like, for most of the show.
Yeah, there's a couple other main maids in the Oinky Doink Cafe, and the first is Yume Hiragi, otherwise known as Yumechi. Mm-hmm. And she's like one of the ace maids at Oinky Doink because, she's very personable and charismatic with the customers and whatnot. But it's very much an act.
Yeah, of course. They always.
If in this line of work, you kind of got to put that face on. Yeah,
they always call her like. They always say she basically gave up her humanity. Mm-hmm. She's such a good maid that she's not real anymore most of the time, which is kind of. I don't know, maybe the meaning, but, she is really good at it. But you notice that once she's done with the customers, she becomes a completely different person. She becomes very cynical and, feels a bit hardened. And it's like, get the fuck out of here. You're ruining my quota or whatever. I'm keeping this thing alive and stuff like that. So she's very dominating in that workspace because she is the best mate there. It's just how it is. But, it feels like she's living a double life.
But she also doesn't take any guff from anyone about the cafe or about any of the other people who work there. No. So.
And none of them do. Like everyone, well, except for the chief maybe. Everyone is really passionate about their workplace. They're like, this is where we are and we like it here. And even if it's not like the most prestigious or quite the opposite really, thing, we like what we have here, we like the work we do, and we like our customers. And anyone who says anything against that or even tries to hurt some of my colleagues or our work tries to do harm to our workplace is gonna get a gun barrel jammed down their throat. So that's how it works. And yeah, everybody in this cafe kind of, except for the chief, like I said, kind of embodies that attitude. So even if Ranko, as I mentioned before, in terms of how she behaves and everything, doesn't quite fit into, like at first glance, into that environment, because she's 35, she is very stern, she is the Terminator style, whatever. She is not even that good at being, the cutesy maid stuff. She's not good at that at all. But also she needs to learn pretty much as Nagumi when it comes to preparing food and everything. But she is also very passionate, like in her own way. She is very I want to be a maid, and to me this means that and that and that, and I don't want to be anything else. This is my life. And that kind of, she's able to convey that to her colleagues after a while. Like they accept her, even if she, is different. And the customers do too. Like she gets her own set of customers that are very attached to her. That is neat. I mean, that also kind of, I wouldn't say backfires, but we have an episode that kind of becomes very sad because of that. And the show can do that well, too. Like, the show cannot only do zany comedy very well. There's I don't even know which episode that was, but there's one, episode 10. Episode 10 is the episode that proves that the show is also really good at doing, serious and tragic stuff. Of course, it's a bit theatrical and everything, but it doesn't feel ham-fisted or stuff like that. And Ranko is kind of at the center point of that. even, I mean, her whole story is kind of sad because right from the get-go, you realize, okay, she's in this for also maybe for revenge, or she at least has a hard-boiled origin story with her, chief being killed, and then we learn she got into prison because she took revenge for that and stuff like that. That, of course, is always part of the entire show, but it is not her whole character. There's only parts of it, and I feel like the show is really good at showing us all the different facets of what Ranko really is all about. And I didn't expect that, but I appreciate it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I thought her character was great, and I think she's just a great complementary piece to all the other maids in there who are more, the standard maid-ish characters, more bouncy, heartfelt, good mood, even if it's just an act, a front just with Yumichi, whatever. But that's what kind of they are, and she's kind of like going against that. But, not to be cynical or anything. That's just the way she is, and I thought that was really entertaining. I don't know how you felt about her character in general.
I mean, yeah, that pretty much sums it up, to be honest.
All right, who else do we have?
There's Shino Goto, otherwise known as Sheepbone. She kind of has more of a devil may care attitude.
Yes, mostly. But also, just like I mentioned before, once her understanding of what she likes about her workplace being threatened, she's willing to go the extra mile to bring it back to the stuff she likes, or bring it back to the roots, whatever. There's a very important episode, I don't want to give it away, where, they get, the maids get visited by a drill instructor to make them upstanding, perfect mates and everything. And kind of everyone falls for it except for her. And usually would expect her to maybe fall in line, but she kind of becomes the odd man out, and that kind of results also into bullying because others kind of get brainwashed a bit with, the drill instructor's methods and everything. But she kind of goes against it, and I didn't expect her to do that, and I loved it. And I loved the conclusion to that episode. I thought it was great. That was probably one of my favorite ones in this show, because it was
really strong.
Yeah, it was so funny. Like, the whole show takes kind of at several points, not only at this point, but at other points too, the show takes a huge dump on the you exist for, your head company, your group, your workplace, whatever, indoctrination bullshit. We got stuff like the maids. I think that's what the drill instructor says even at some point. The maids give the group sweets money, so the group protects the maids, which is a lot of bullshit because they're at war constantly and everyone is dying. So that's crap.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I think I've mentioned this before. I've always had problems with shows that paint like the Yakuza quote unquote profession as something noble, or like they are living by a knightly code or some shit like that. Like, fuck off with that nonsense. They're just thugs and criminals that want to make money off the back of other people. Nothing noble about it, even if they want to paint it that way. And the show knows that, kinda, and is having fun with all the stuff by satirizing the crap out of it. And I love that. And I feel like they still sneak some in there with like, hey, yeah, but we like our lifestyle, and you could also attribute it that maybe to some Yakuza groups, I don't know. But they kind of skirt around that by this also being about a maid cafe, where the girls want to sing and dance and service their customers and have a good time, which is a bit of a different thing to what, your standard Yakuza probably do. So there you go. But I loved it. I loved the whole, every time the show was like, yeah, fuck this adhering to, this family whatever structure, this made up bullshit where it's like, oh, we protect our lower, no, fuck off. Yeah, it was fun. It was really fun. I liked that a lot, and I liked the episode where Shippon kind of had the spotlight in that regard. Because like you said, most of the time she seems like, shrug.
Very lackadaisical. Yeah,
very lackadaisical. She's here, she's hanging out. She's having a good time, but she's not super invested. But, once that happens, of course, she needs a bit of help because it seems like risky to even stay there at some point. She just wants to leave. But, someone else is like, hey, come come on, I'm on your side, whatever. So it's cool. I thought she was really fun, at least in that episode, and in others too, with her, sometimes snide comments, whatever. But everyone does that in this show, kind of, except for Nagomi, I guess, because she's very straightforward, and Ranko doesn't deal with that either, because she's like this, the maid of a few words, which works for some customers. But yeah, it's fun. But yeah, we should mention the best character in this show, John.
You mean the manager?
Yes, the manager, the chief, whatever you want to call her, who is...
Apparently she does have a name?
Yeah, she does, but nobody calls her by that in this show, I think. Maybe at one point. But
I don't ever remember them calling the manager by her proper name, but
No.
It is Yasuko Yaegashi.
Yeah, but they always call her manager or chief or whatever the subs decide to call her. But yeah. All right. Well, she's a mood. That woman is. She's very success oriented in terms of making money, but like you already mentioned, she's really bad at that. Like
that's a way to word it.
Yes, she is. Hey, let's do some ridiculous gambling stuff to get out of our sweet money debt, and then they actually make some money, and there would be a great place to stop, but of course she can't, because she's who she is, and then shit gets worse. Mm-hmm. And she pulls stuff like that in almost every episode. Like, I would say 50% of the time, she is the reason that shit goes really badly for her maid cafe that she is managing. Let's not forget that.
Mostly because she can't shut her mouth.
Yeah, she constantly, I don't know if there's ever an episode where she gets the foot out of her mouth.
No.
It's just in there constantly. But also, she kind of owns it in some way. Like, she's kind of enthusiastic, partially, about being this little shit. Like, there's this one episode where for some reason she gets naked to apologize, and the person she's apologizing to, you think that the person commanded her to do that, but at the end of the scene, she's like, "Why are you naked?" And then you realize, oh, okay, that wasn't punishment. She was just, trying to create the optimal scenario where her apology would be accepted. And there's seen boatload of scenes in this show with that character. Like, she has the best comedy scenes. Why does she suddenly have an eye patch at some point?
Shut up, don't worry about it.
Like I mentioned, why does she suddenly get naked? Like, her dream is she verbalized that at some point, is to own a house on Hawaii with a bunch of pretty boys surrounding her and not having to work anymore. Don't get me wrong, I totally get it. Not the pretty boys part, but, the other stuff, maybe Hawaii would be nice, but I would be fine here and not having to work anymore. So I get it. I get her, but it's fun seeing her just come out and say that. And there's also an episode where Ranko has to fight in a martial arts box thing, and she, of course, they bet against her because that's how they want to make the money. And she gives like this motivational Rocky movie speech to Ranko to convince her that she must lose the match, which is amazing. It's like, it's so good.
But then she and her opponent find motivation to fight against each other, and whoops, there goes all the money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because everything the chief, the manager, plans backfires on her because she's really bad at that. It gets so bad that she at some point just gets thrown out of her own cafe at some point by the drill instructor, and she has to rummage through the garbage with the panda. By the way, there's a panda in this cafe.
Yeah.
In a pig-themed cafe, which makes no sense.
Yeah, I was going to say, who would you think would be the mascot for a pig-themed cafe? You're wrong, it's a panda.
But believe us or not, dear listener, the panda actually makes sense. They make the panda make sense at some point, which is ridiculous, but that kind of adheres to the other theme of the show again, so it works, and it's great, and I was surprised. The panda also has an arc, and that arc is good. And
that was wild.
John, I was taken aback by how much good character work there's in this stupid show.
It's the show definitely over delivers.
Yeah, in more ways than one. There's so many great side gags. There's so much hijinks. There's so much cool action in there. I mean, it's not the best looking PA show we've seen so far. I would say it's good. It's on a very high quality level, but I feel like I've seen other shows of them that look better, that don't necessarily were better. Sirius the Jaeger comes to mind, which I think was also a PA Works show, directed by Masaru Ando. But
I forgot about that one.
Yeah, but that story-wise, that kind of fell apart after a while. Looked amazing from beginning to end. But, in this, you have some really good-looking fights. But some of the episodes also are kind of pretty standard. There's very limited animation. There's not that much action happening or whatever. And, then it looks kind of okay. But the story and the characters are so much fun that you don't care about the more, low-key animation moments. It's just every episode is a blast. Every episode is a blast in this.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I wasn't really... Like, the moments, the big moments definitely stand out. But the ones where it's not as, crazy produced, they don't really stick out or anything. They're just sort of there, it is what it is.
Yeah. Like I said, a lot of good jokes in there. I love that the anime figurine company heads are portrayed as criminals in the show as well, because let's be honest, in real life they probably are.
Yeah.
I mean, they might just as well have put idol managers in there or something like that. It would have worked too. I don't even want to know how much dark shit is going on in those professions and in that line of work in companies, whatever. So, but yeah, that worked really well. And the whole contrast between the cutesy language in some parts, and then you have this wild Yankee or Yakuza rough language, Japanese slang language in there when the maids switch the mode, right? And they become like attack animals.
Just suddenly you turn on the oikora.
Yeah, and I don't feel like I need to say it, but as fun as the comedy is, it can get really dark. At some point, the baseball match comes to mind. So, be prepared for that. But all of it works.
Who are these people? Oh, they're just three... Oh, God, where are they from? 3 Venezuelan guys that the manager hired off the street. What?
There was one... Those were the lighter jokes in that episode, John. I'm talking about...
But that one in particular stood out because, like... Where did these 3 guys come from? And then they just sort of dropped that little nugget of knowledge, and I'm like, oh, okay, all right. So that's where Jose, Luis, and Antonio came from. Got it.
Yeah, it's fun. The comedy also. Thanks for reminding me. The comedy in this is also a really neat mixture. Like you have this. It's funny because it's over the top bullshit stuff. That's a lot of that. What is in there? You have a lot of puns. You have a lot of dialogue humor. You have a lot of situational comedy. But you also have a lot of just random things that I don't know, the way it's animated and pulled off, you don't see that as much in other anime. The Venezuelans come to mind, but also lots of weird elevator jokes in this that are really well done and varied and that feel like, okay, I don't know why they're in this show, but they work for some reason. And yeah, it's great. And I don't know. I don't have really that much negative to say about the show. I feel maybe some of the characters that get introduced, I felt like they would have a bigger role. Like Manami comes to mind, for example. But they still serve a purpose, and it's not like they're in there just for fluff or anything. So yeah, it's cool. Like even the ridiculous stuff sometimes has a really good emotional component to it and everything. And I feel like if you after the first episode feel like you could, like, this is the ride you would be willing to get on, you will have an immensely good time because it gets only wilder and more fun from there on out. Like I didn't feel like the show dialed back at any moment, like went back downhill. Like I feel like it was not that it was like constantly building up the crazy, but every time you had like finished up one thing another different flavor came around the corner. It also doesn't just stick to the same thing all the time. The main theme, sure, but also, hey, now we got a crazy action scene, and in this next episode we focus more on characters, on developing our main characters and their backstories and stuff like that. And then we do some wild casino bullshit, and then we do a baseball episode, and then whatever, karaoke, and then an actual mafia gang war for 2 episodes in episode 7 and 8 that is appropriately titled Creatureland Gang War Chronicles or something.
Yeah.
With a narrator for flashbacks. So yeah, that's great. Like, there's a bunch of different shit in this show, and all of it kind of works and fits together. And yeah, I didn't expect that. When you mentioned the show, it's like, oh, this is probably fun, but it's probably just dumb bullshit. And there's a lot of that in there, don't get me wrong, but I feel like there was a lot more to chew on in there than I would have expected. It seems to me that you had the same experience.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said at the top, I was expecting just something dumb and fluffy going in. We got literal made Yakuza action show that over-delivered at every turn. It had just a bunch of great characters and super fun moments, and just like I've said this before, and I feel like it bears saying every time that PA works. They just go for it every time. So yeah. I'm super glad to see that they had a hand in something fun again.
Yeah, John, where can people watch it?
You can watch it on High Dive, which is Sentai Filmworks' streaming platform. But it's on a few other services depending on where you live. It looks like it may be on Crunchyroll in certain territories, and on a few other places as well. So it's not impossible to find to watch, and I believe that we, both of us, would encourage y'all to check it out.
All right, John. Gundam?
Mm-hmm.
Gundam. Yeah. I mean, we've talked about this giant-ass franchise many times over now. In review for... Wait, which Gundam shows have we reviewed? We reviewed...
Build Divers, Iron Blood, Origin. Yeah, I guess we mostly just talked about Unicorn in passing when they did the recut TV version. I don't know, I didn't like Unicorn. I'm not big into the whole...
Universal Century stuff?
Some of the UC stuff is fine.
I mean, Origin is UC stuff.
When we get into like the weirdo new type stuff that yeah. that Unicorn was, and the encounter between Benager and Full Frontal, and it was like I walked away from the end of Unicorn saying this was stupid, and I didn't even bother to watch Hathaway's Flash.
I heard Hathaway's Flash is rather good, but I've not seen it yet. And that new thing that is set during the original run of the of the original Mobile Suit Gundam, but the episode that they kind of cut out, or whatever happened there that was so badly animated, and they
Kukuru's Doan's Island.
Yeah. That just recently got released as a movie, and apparently as a standalone story, it's pretty damn good. I will check that out. But yeah,
I don't know much about that aside from it exists.
I liked Unicorn, but I also didn't see the TV version. I saw the movie version, and that just judging from people who have watched both versions, it's like night and day apparently. That doesn't maybe change the fact, because I agree the finale to that either way was really crazy, but then again, so was the finale to a Charged Counterattack. Because that also went into the really crazy mind space across all time and space. New time can communicate, whatever.
So
right?
Then I probably would hate that too.
Yeah, maybe. But I feel like it probably wasn't as weirdly cut up in the movie version. So that everything made a bit more sense. At least that's what
there's still large holes in my UC knowledge. Like I haven't watched Charged Counterattack. I haven't watched Zeta or Double Zeta.
Me neither.
There's other UC movies as well that I think I'm forgetting. Well, there's the movie recuts of Zeta and Double Zeta, but then there's other stuff, I think.
Yeah, I
We're
don't know
getting
if
into
I'll,
the weeds.
yeah, I don't know if I'll ever get back. I mean, I watched the three compilation movies for the original Gundam show, which were okay. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of the original Gundam, just in terms of but that's me with very old, quote unquote, like 10 years older than me, I guess, anime. Not even 10 years. When did the original 79, right?
1979. Yep, that's why it's
so 2 years older than me.
0079.
2 years older than me. So
Yeah.
I can't deal with things that are almost as old as me. There you go.
I tried watching 0079 when it had its run on Toonami ages and ages ago, and it seemed fine. I didn't have any issue with the dub or anything. That wasn't my problem. It was the storytelling and how stupid and scattershot it was. So I sat down and watched the movies instead, and I feel like I had a generally better time. But I guess I also missed out on certain details, which is like, okay, fine, you got to make cuts somewhere. Tomino also has a really weird, not great method of telling his stories.
Yeah, it might also be a Tomino thing.
I have complained about G-Reco before and how it feels like every conversation the characters are not talking to each other. And I hate that. It feels like no one can ever have a conversation. They're talking past each other, talking through each other. They're not talking to each other. And that happened several times. And I remember feeling like, this feels really strange. And then I got to the end of the show and I was like, no, this show is bad.
That seems to also be, except for the weird, hardcore Gundam weirdos who maybe get a kick out of every Tomino show, but I think no one really likes G-Reco. I
think a friend of ours liked G-Reco. I don't know why he does, but he does. But he
maybe
also,
because the Gundams look good.
Yeah, I mean the G-Self is cool, I guess.
Yeah.
But he also made the point that in G-Reco, it was kind of like, oh, this is basically Baby's first war. That's why it's so weird. And alternate universe scene, it's like, that doesn't excuse it, my guy, from being really weird and badly written.
I mean, I liked what I've seen of Thunderbolt, for example. And that's not his.
Thunderbolt was cool.
But that's also Universal Century, right? So
yeah,
I think
Thunderbolt was cool. Right Narrative, I hadn't watched either. So
I don't know if that's good.
Yeah, I
heard bad things about it. I thought that
when I saw it takes place after Unicorn, I was just like,
I heard Hathaway's Flesh is better.
Like I think there's really good stuff in UC, like Eighth Team, like 0083. Like I love those. I love those a lot. But kind of like the core stuff is like
I mean, there's bad stuff in the AU stuff too.
Do you really care about Igloo or F91 or Victory Gundam or G Savior? Do you care about G Savior?
Probably not. But I also don't care about Gundam Seed Destiny.
The less said about Seed, the better.
I don't care much about 00 season 2, but season 2 is a general Gundam problem. We'll get to that once we get to the second season of this show. Maybe. I hope not.
I hope we don't have to bring that up.
Yeah, because that's one of the things. It's like the Gundam sickness. I feel like a lot of Gundam shows start really strong with a good concept, with a good cast of characters, and then kind of loses its way after a while. Iron Blooded Orphans was like that. It was still decent, but it didn't end as strong as it started. Gundam Seed, I liked the first season of Gundam Seed. It was very standard shit, but it was the first Gundam show I watched, actually, so there might be nostalgia involved.
Seed was weird because it tried to be a reboot, but it kind of turned out not being that.
Yeah, I guess not, but it kind of works. The character motivation still worked for me in that first in Seed. Seed Destiny was a nightmare. Like, it was one of the worst anime I've ever seen. Like, ever. It was horrible. And 00 first season was good. Second season was eh. And, that seems to be, I don't know, age probably also the same thing, maybe.
I didn't hate Age, but I understand where a lot of people have gripes with it. I mean, I will say this. G-Reco was the series that aired immediately after Age, so I think Age was a lot better in comparison.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. But yeah, but also, with the spin-off stuff, like, I think you really like Gundam Build Fighters, and then Gundam Build Divers didn't do it for you anymore, right?
Yeah, they tried to turn it into an isekai, and I was just like, I liked it when it was them building the models and fighting each other, and then, they did
Keeping
other
it simple.
weird, then they did other weird, goofy stuff with that, like the VR projection world that the models fight and kind of bleeding into reality. You know, that was okay. I could get on board with that. But then Build Divers was like, there's this world in the game that exists outside the parameters of the normal. And I'm just like, who cares? Also, the characters in Build Divers, whatever the second one was, I can't remember. We're like, oh, we were the side characters in the first series. You should still care about us. So okay, that's nice.
Okay. But yeah, bringing this giant tangent to an end, just to probably get across that we are not Gundam aficionados, and whoever is a diehard Gundam fan and for some reason is listening to this episode, still listening to this episode, probably just tearing out their hair already, just half bald.
Excuse you, we are Gundam experts.
Yes, of course. Yes, we're Gundam. Yes. We are Gundam experts. That we are. And as Gundam experts,
I have been watching Gundam since Wing aired on Toonami. I feel like I have a certain level of knowledge of this gargantuan franchise.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's maybe not call us Gundam experts, but Gundam witnesses. Wait, that has weird connotation to it. That sounds like we're just some kind of weird religion like Jehovah's Witnesses or something. No, let's not say that.
I don't know how I like that.
Gundam victims. Maybe that? I don't know.
Gundam
passengers.
Gundam. Orega Gundam da.
We are. No, we are not Gundams ourselves. Get Setsun out of here. We are. I feel content with we are Gundam passengers. We're along for the ride, but we're not steering the ship.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's all right. Like we're not super invested in where this thing is going. We're just joining on some occasional trips here and there. So, all right. I can live with that, I guess.
I am willing to accept that.
So let's have another Gundam holiday trip. Which from Mercury is a first for Gundam in the way that it has a female main character. A female Gundam pilot as the main character. We have had female Gundam pilots before. But as far as I know, with my limited knowledge of the Gundam universe, the giant Gundam universe, Suletta, our main character, is the first main female character in this universe. Am I mistaken? Do you know?
I think that's right. I mean, there are other girls who are, kind of main characters. I mean, I guess in the main line stuff, because there's what's her face in one of the Build series, Fumina, I think, kind of a main character. But I feel like, saying that Suletta is probably first and foremost one of the big main characters who is, female, is, an accurate assessment.
Yes, and it is really interesting. And she has a really cool Gundam. I think Ariel looks great. I think it's a really cool design. Definitely some stuff that is more like not as bulky maybe, so a bit more slender, I guess, but some Gundams always, some Gundam designs already were that, so I wouldn't necessarily attribute that to it having a female pilot or whatever, but it's definitely a striking design. I liked it a lot. It felt different enough from the other previous Gundam models that I was like, this is cool. The way it uses its bit weapon, whatever they call funnels, bits, gun. I think here they're called Gunt bits, right?
Yes.
Right. So she can make a shield out of that. She can use that as a gun, as a sword, I think, too. Or at least she can just spread them out and just shoot with them from any angles, just like those bits or funnels usually do in on other Gundam models when they have them. So that's cool. And yeah, what's the whole setup of the show? The setup is kind of, I mean, my animalist says, Suletta Mercury leaves her planet and enters the Asticacia School of Technology at the behest of her mother. There, right and wrong are determined through duels between students, and the top-ranking duelist will receive Murine Rembrandt as their fiancé. This prize being decided by Murine's father, who is the head of the company and the school, whatever. When Gul Jeturk, the best pilot in school and Murine's current fiancé, demands that his betrothed move in with him, Suletta disapproves, so Gul challenges her. Although she emerges as champion, Suletta is subsequently detained on suspicion of piloting a forbidden type of mobile suit, a Gundam, or Gundam, which results in her victory being voided. Murina refuses to accept any more injustices and proposes another duel with even higher stakes. Now Suletta must triumph a second time, otherwise she will be expelled and the Gundam Ariel that means so much to her will be destroyed. Which sounds like a very, on paper, a very weird high schoolish approach to Gundam. Where it's like, hey, we have this fixed setting of this school, and where everything is decided by duels, which is kind of, I don't want to say stolen, but slightly borrowed from Revolutionary Girl Utena, let's just say that, and also the author of this, Ichiro Okuchi, who we have mentioned favorably and unfavorably before. Most recently, mostly favorably, with Skate the Infinity, for example, which was a lot of fun. But he has also written, I think, either the novelization of Revolutionary Girl Utena or a sequel novel or whatever, but he is not unfamiliar with the franchise. So, yeah, this kind of setup with the duels and everything, and the girl coming in as a newbie on the school and with a maybe secret past, whatever, is kind of close to that. So it feels like, okay, this is really unusual for Gundam, and where's the standard stuff? But the standard stuff is kind of in there, because this, again, is very much also about Earth versus the colonies. War. Lots of war. Forbidden technology, kind of. Everyone wants to have a Gundam, kind of, because it's the best weapon, whatever. But also maybe forbidden, and dark machinations in the background, and revenge, and whatever. So it's not like this is like a whole, like, oh no, Gundam has been completely shoujo-fied now, or whatever, or a shoujo fight, and now it's not about all the old themes anymore. No, they're all still in there. It's all still Gundam stuff. War is bad, and shit happens, and more at this point of the show, I feel like in the episode 0 than any of the succeeding episodes, because like the whole first thing that we see, if you watch the episode 0, is like Suletta, maybe, and her mom working on under a professor on the Gundam, which is kind of Gundams in this universe have their roots like in the development of medical prosthetics, and they kind of wanna. They have this detrimental effect to the health of the pilots in this universe. That's why they're kind of forbidden, and that's why companies kind of want to get rid of them or whatever, or other companies. And the doctor that Suletta's mom works under, Dr. Cabro, tries to evolve them further to get rid of that side effect and make Gundams the new thing that helps people explore space. It's not supposed to be a weapon. It's supposed to help people like live in space better, like better evolve to a life and adjust to a life in space. And that's what their goal is, but then hostile takeover from another company happens and so on, which is, by the guy who is Murina's father, who he is the kind of instigator behind all of that, and, destroys the base with all the scientists get killed, whatever, but Suletta and her mom get to escape. And then the next thing we see in episode 1 is Suletta all growing up and getting into that school, and then, shit happens. She's making friends, she's making enemies, and with the student council and everything, and getting a fiance kind of in Murina. And then, they try to create their own company at some point and try to make Gundam a name that is accepted and everything, but also not go into war, which is a very interesting part of the show where they're like, what are we going to do with our company? Like, the easiest way would be to make the Gundam a weapon, but Suletta kind of doesn't want to do that. And then they decide we're going to go into, medical stuff. The thing that, Gundams kind of initially were intended for, but of course were mispurposed, as humans do, as weapons. So they kind of go back to the original idea of Gundams. And, that's kind of what the whole first season is about. Like, Suletta coming into the school, making a name for herself, like besting a few people in combat to get her wishes through and to survive, basically, and to not lose her Gundam and whatever, and to also create her own company together with Miorine and everything. And that is kind of most of what happens. And then, in the background, some dark machinations with, we have like 3. How many main companies do we have? 3, right? I believe
so, yeah.
Yeah. And they, of course, all are vying for the favor of the big head company and everything and want to advance their own weapon sets. And, there's some characters involved with that. And, yeah, that all plays in the background. Also, Suletta's mom comes back at some point, like becomes part of the picture. And she is probably the biggest mystery in this, maybe, of what her motives are and everything, but also maybe not, because maybe she's just out for revenge and everything. She wears a mask, and I was complaining in our sneak peek, or like, why did they give that away? Like, why did they show us in the episode 0 who Suletta's mom is, so that we can also already assume who Miss Prospera is?
Yeah,
like
it's a
Lady
weird
Prospera.
narrative choice.
I thought that, but then, immediately in the show, they make clear, like, after the first episode, she appears that she is Suletta's mom, and there's no real it's only a mystery, maybe, that, she was one of the scientists who survived the massacre on the Gundam research station, to other companies, to other people. That's a secret to them. But we as viewers, are supposed to be closed in. And I wasn't sure about that when we watched episode 0 in the first episode of the proper show. It's like, okay, no, they just didn't want to make this a secret. It's just like, hey, okay, the real secret is, what are her motives? What is she actually trying to do? And also a bunch of other things in this. Like, there are big question marks in this show above a bunch of things. The biggest one at this point, I feel like, and I don't know if you agree, is Suletta herself, which was really interesting. Don't know if we talked about this on Discord or something already, if I mentioned it to you there, but there's like this weird thing. Suletta wasn't her name in episode 0. What was her name again? Elnora, who is Lady Prospera, that's her real name, and Elnora Samaya, which is Suletta's mom's real name. Her daughter's name in episode 0 is Eri. And in the show, then, of course, I just automatically assumed, okay, Suletta is an alias. It's just so that she doesn't recognize, there can be no connection made from her to her mom to the massacre, whatever, so that they don't get found out and so ever. It's just for their own protection, right? That's why her mother gave her the name Suletta to, enlist into the school, but stay inconspicuous. But they drop like these weird hints of that make me very suspicious about the origin of Ariel, of the Gundam, and how they got over the hump of piloting it not being detrimental to the pilot's health anymore. Like, every time Suletta is in the Gundam, first she sees, like, when the funnels or bits, the gun bits, dance around her, she sees them as little children, which is really weird. And there are also some other hints dropped that you feel like she maybe is not Eri. I feel like that's one of the things, the big question marks in this show at this point. Is Suletta really Eri, or did something happen to Eri and she maybe is part of the Gundam? There are a bunch of other things that play into that, because we have also one of the other corporations that apparently, I don't know, create like pilots for the gun for their mobile suits that are maybe clones or not, or they get their memories erased and stuff like that. Like Elan is one of them, right? One of those enhanced people, but they also seem to have a limited time span where they can actually pilot the mobile suits and or the Gundams. Like they were created, like these enhanced people, like Elan, who's one of the guys in the school, were created to specifically pilot Gundams. But since the negative effects haven't been erased from piloting Gundams yet, like they have a limited time span, and it seems like they have, I don't know, one of the companies, I forgot what the company's name was, has like a bunch of clones or whatever, or enhanced people that they just gobble up from the street and change their identity and whatever and their memory to pilot a Gundam. And that kind of sows the seed in terms of a lot of bad shit going down when it comes to actually furthering the development of Gundams in this universe. And I really wonder, and that's just, again, another one of my wild throws out there. I wonder if Prospera sacrificed her daughter for the Gundam experiments and created clones of her until she was able to fully control Ariel. And Suletta is one of the last enhanced whatever clones of Eri that exist. And all the other kids that she sees when she controls the Gundam, when she has the bits flying around, those are all previous versions of Eri that died when piloting the Gundam. And the memories of her she implemented into the database of Ariel, and that's at some point so many minds were in sync in that Gundam that it was actually able to pilot it without any side effects. That's the weird place my mind goes to at this point, because for some reason Prospera strikes me as this really, really fucked up villain. All mask characters in Gundam shows are usually villain characters, usually.
True.
So her just being, she has a motive. She definitely has an agenda here. The question is it just standard revenge? Or has she gone completely insane? I mean, she has lost her husband. Maybe she has lost her daughter at some point. She has lost basically her life. She has lost an arm, whatever. Mm. And I wonder how crazy she actually is. That's the thing I'm wondering right now. I really wonder how much of this is just, just weird imagery that Gundam loves to put in certain things, right? We talked about all the weird new type shit in Universal Century. Mm-hmm. But I really wonder, because they really throw that in there a lot of the times. And Suletta just being really connected and saying, oh, Ariel is like my sister. And I'm like,
I had seen some people theorizing about Suletta being like a clone or something. But I don't really think I had seen a whole lot of theorizing about the other things you're throwing out there. But oh God, it's starting to make sense. Oh no. Oh no.
I feel like the show has a really, and the thing is, the show feels kind of light, right? For a Gundam show, this show with these weird side bits aside, right? With Elan, who apparently gets killed once he has served his purpose by the Pyle company arm, right? Pyle is one of the three big companies. I think it's Jeturk, Pale, and the Grassley, yeah. And once apparently one of their pilots has served this purpose, and Elan lost to whatever, and to Suletta and Duel and whatever. Apparently, at least his memory gets erased, but I think he gets just killed, right? And we get another Elan, or maybe the real Elan at this point, and the other one was just one double. I don't know. It has not been made super clear yet. But the first version we meet of that character apparently gets killed. So that's one of the darker bits. But aside from... Yeah, super dark.
I do wonder if the second Elan is the original or not.
Yes, that's what I'm wondering too. Maybe he believes he is, but maybe he also isn't.
Oh my god, if he believes he is reason,
Yeah.
But
So
that begs the question. Did the first one think he was the original? No, because didn't he come face to face with the second?
I think so.
So he must have known that he wasn't the original.
Yeah.
This goes places that I didn't really think about while watching, man.
Yeah. It's good when shows do that. But yeah, so that's one of the dark bits. And then you have the potentially dark bit that might just exist as crazy thoughts in my crazy head. But aside from that, this is mostly a really light Gundam show because first of all the deadly duels besides the episode 0 and the very end of this first season don't really have any real casualties. They're just kind of mock battles. Like no people die in those battles. It's not real war. It's like a stage 1-to-1 fight. Usually also we have a team fight in there, which is kick ass. And, that makes it lighter. The high school setting makes it lighter. It being mostly about, a bit of high school rivalries, but also creating your own company. It feels like it's not as big scale in the beginning and also not as, dark. War is the worst thing. Of course it is. Death everywhere. And we have still like I said, the Gundam themes in there. Colony people, what they're called here? Spatians, right?
Yes.
Spatians versus Earthians, and we have one character that is very much racist against Earth people or space people, and the other way around. We have a bunch of those in the show, and that is definitely in there. So that's one of the more serious bits. But aside from that, it's a lot of characters, having fun. Suletta being very flustered at everything. Really, you recognize that she has not been in the company of a lot of other people for a long time. She has to get really used to talking to other people. Maybe because she hasn't been alive that long. Yeah, so maybe she's not just protected.
Oh my god. I wasn't thinking that's 5D chess. I wasn't thinking that, but now that it's out there, I'm like, oh god, that's probably it, isn't it?
We'll see. But yeah, it's very light. It's, you got a bit of drama. You have people fighting for each other's fiance, whatever, right? In a duel where they have to cut off each other's antenna from the Gundam or whatever. And, you have over-the-top characters. Guel, who we meet in the beginning, is like a giant ass. But he also, he evolves. He becomes a cool character in his own right after a while, so that's neat. I really hated him in the beginning, but then they kind of turn him around. They really humble him. They humble his ass.
Big time. Oh,
yes.
man.
Oh, he gets put in his place like several times, so much that you feel sorry for him at some point.
Yeah. Well, and then there's another moment where you really feel like, ugh, for him.
Yeah, with his father. His father is the real asshole. Like all the dads in this. I think this is another one of those shows that is really where one of the big themes is parents are horrible.
Yeah.
And I think that extends to Lady Prospera. It's not as obvious in this first season, but every time you see her interacting with Suletta, there's like this undertone of big manipulation energy there.
I kind of feel like Shadik's father is probably the least bad of them.
Yeah.
But he definitely still has his own, things going on.
Absolutely. I mean, he was involved kind of with the massacre on the, the Gundam stage.
But Delling and Vim are just, they're terrible to their children.
Yes.
They're awful.
Yes. They are awful. And it's nice getting their children like one up at them at some point in a way. It's fun. It's a good, it feels just fun. Like, I think never has a concept presentation, a PowerPoint presentation for a proposed company been so exciting, because it's Miorina against her father at that point on that stage. When she proposes their company concept and has to win the favors of all the other, of the sponsors, and she actually asks her dad for help and he grants it because at this point he accepts what she is doing. Which she shouldn't have to do. He should just support her regardless. But it's nice to actually see her grow so much that she is able to swallow her pride and do what's good for her and not what's good for her dad. Like, she's not being rebellious for rebellion's sake, but also doing something that she wants and actually using her father for that, because she's using him. She uses his fun, she uses his influence, and she does that to further her own goals. So, she kind of learns the economy way, whatever. She knows what to do. She knows how to live. She knows how to work in this environment. So that's cool to see. That's really good. Like, Miorina is one of the most fun characters in this show. And, her energy with Suletta is really good. And, it's nice to see them.
God, their dynamic together is really, really good.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like, of course, big lesbian energy, of course.
Oh, without a doubt.
had to be in there. I mean, again, Revolutionary Girl Utena had that a lot as well. So
I mean, when Miorine says to Suletta, "Yeah, I am your fiance now," and Suletta is like, "Hey, what do you mean? But we're both girls." And Miorine is just like, "Yeah,
so what?
Okay."
And after a while, they really grow fond of each other, and I feel like there's this misunderstanding at some point. Miorine doesn't get that her relying on Suletta makes Suletta really happy. Like, she wants to feel needed. And Suletta also takes the whole marriage thing pretty seriously, while Miorine seems to be very hand-wavy about it. Like, she's, yeah, that's fine with me. It's just, it doesn't mean much to me. But of course, actually, she isn't. That's just the front.
Yeah.
And thankfully, anime timing works the opposite way this time and actually dissolves unnecessary drama. Because in the episode where it comes kind of like to a head, Miorine overhears Suletta airing her grievances and insecurities about their relationship to her mom over the comm, and promptly takes the initiative to let Suletta know that she means the world to her. Because Suletta has like this mantra thing where she always just like, if you run, you gain 1. If you move forward, you gain 2. Meaning running away gets you a single benefit, like safety. But moving forward and standing your ground will give you experience and confidence, even though you might put yourself out there and at risk. But it's better that way. And that's what her mom taught her. We'll see if that is actually...
I mean,
has a perverse side to it.
I mean, it's like a good way of thinking, but
yeah, again, big manipulation energy there. Can't be applied to all situations, but I guess it works for Suletta because she is otherwise a very shy and easily flustered person, like I said. She has confidence in her piloting skills and the experience to pick it up. But she does not have that much confidence in her relationship to Miorine. So when Miorine comes to her and is like, hey, your mantra, move forward, gain 2, helped me not to be afraid anymore. Like, I am in this place right now that I am, where I am happy and don't want to run away from everything anymore. Because that was Miorine before. Like, she wanted to run away from the school. That's how they meet, actually. She wants to escape from her father, everything. She wants to throw everything away because she hates her life. And then Suletta comes into her life and changes all of that. Everything. And Miorine recognizes that, and she says that in her eyes, that's all thanks to Suletta. And that scene in episode 11 where they finally see eye to eye is like one of the most rewarding scenes in Gundam ever, I would say, just from an emotional standpoint. It's really cute also. Like, those two really seem to love each other. And at this point, and I love that. There's something happening after that might put a real dent into that in the very last episode of the season, which I don't want to give away, but holy shit.
Oh god, that
which also puts another weight on the there might be not everything right with Suletta's upbringing. Maybe her mom did some weird things and whatever. So, we'll see about that. But yeah, it was a great scene nonetheless. It really caught me off guard.
Definitely good shock value.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's probably the best thing about this show is, about this first season anyway, is the relationship between Miorine and Suletta, because it's really well developed, but also all the other characters are fun. Like, there are a bunch of interesting people in there with some hidden sides, like, maybe some being a hidden spy, who I don't want to give away, and, having some connections to other people that you don't initially think, but also being really interesting in their own right. And, then you have characters that are like Choo Choo, who is coming off very bratty in the beginning and kind of annoying because she's very biased against patients, because some of them have treated her like dirt her entire life. So it's understandable, but she's still really hung up on that, and that can get annoying. But she warms up to Suletta, who is a Spatian. And I also cheered when she just punches one of the bitches who sabotaged the exam right in the face. That was really good. So there are a bunch of cool characters in this. Not all of them get the spotlight as much as our main characters, of course. But I felt like the whole cast was really fun in this show. I don't know how you felt about it. Was there a favorite of yours? Did you have like a particular person that were like, oh yeah, I like this character and I want to see more of them in this next season? Or did all the characters that you attached yourself to get enough screen time already in the first season?
I mean, I love Suletta. She's great.
Yeah, same. She's great.
And, obviously,
bit scary.
And obviously there's more to her than we know. But
oh yeah.
But I want to know, what's Nika's deal? I want to know more about her.
Absolutely. Nika is one of those question marks. And in the student council, there's also some of those that are, okay, maybe we'll learn more about them. But
and obviously there's more to know about Elan. So
yes, Elan, absolutely. Whatever version, was there ever a real, who knows? We'll see.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Like all the company heads are interesting too in regards to Pi, probably the most eerie ones with the weird ladies that seem like almost like robots.
Yeah, the whole
maybe they are
the whole like co-CEO thing of Pale was like. I
mean, I like the concept in itself, I guess, but they are eerie ladies. They seem to be very cold in terms of, but also always have a weird smile on their face, like they're in on a joke that you are not in on. They're laughing about the joke that you're not in on, but it's. Yeah, it's interesting. It's also, like I said, it's interesting to see all the company maneuvering between the different companies and trying to like upend each other. It's really fun to see. Like the forming of a new company has never been so dramatic, like I said, and all the thing that surrounds that, and all the we're trying to take out the Gundam because so that our company can get at it or whatever. All of that kind of feels cool. And it's nice to also see that like side environment. I appreciate that. For some people, it might be a bit dry, maybe that part of the show, because it's a big contrast to what is going on the school side of things, because that feels very emotionally character focused, while all the stuff that happens around this is really a lot of political maneuvering. But that has also always been part of Gundam, I feel like. So you should expect that going into a show like this.
Yeah, for sure.
So at least for me, it wasn't a surprise. I was actually expecting more of that from the get-go. But it was like, oh, okay, they're doing this. This is new with the school stuff and everything, which is the more, fun character bits and stuff like that, more lighthearted. And then on the side, you have the usual Gundam warfare stuff, only this time it's more corporate warfare than anything else. Yet. That might change in this second season. I assume it will. There will probably be all-out war between the different companies, probably. But, we got not that much in this season for that. It was more like some plots to secure funds or whatever, or to fuck someone over in one company and with the help of, the Gundam or whatever, or with some of the characters doing certain things. And something happening in the school with, the duels and everything, and that working against one company over another and shit like that. So, but it was a very interesting component to the center stage that the whole school storyline has in this. So I thought that was cool. And it seems like you did as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of interesting just from the perspective that, you hear about a lot of the background talk of like, oh yeah, the original Gundam was manufactured by Yashima Heavy Industries, and that's it. Okay, that company exists. Cool. We that's part of the universe. Mm-hmm. But now that it's a lot more in the forefront, and it's the big corporate warfare element that you were saying, I think it does have a lot of the same like politicking that had 4, but I feel like it gives it enough of a different flavor.
It's definitely feels fresh in more ways than one. Not only because the main character is, a female character, not because you have a kind of gay romance in there, lesbian romance in there, but also because just the way the show is structured and what the focus is put on and who the different parties are. It definitely feels like something else for a change than your usual Colony versus Earth stuff, or if you have something like H, which was more against aliens, I guess. So it felt fresh, like I said. And what we haven't really talked about yet is the animation, which is probably the best a Gundam show has looked since a long time. I feel like this. I mean, Iron-Blooded Orphans looked really good in parts, but I feel like this, in terms of consistency and every battle kind of looking incredible, is really something. Like Sunrise they maybe felt like they had to deliver something extra for this. I don't know, maybe. But it definitely looks like they tried to do that. And it's a joy to witness. Because, like I said, all the duels are great in this. They look fantastic. Like, all the action scenes in this show are really something. And the character models are sharp and cool. Like, some really unique, cool designs in this that I thought were great to look at. Favorite battle for me probably was the battle against Shadik and his weird harem crew. Not only because it was a team battle, I love team battles, but also because Suletta actually doesn't deliver the final blow. It's her team that does it. So that kind of fits the whole theme of starting the company together and everyone having their role and stuff like that, and fulfilling a purpose and doing their part to making shit happen. And that kind of works for that fight too. Like, everyone has a role to play, and only together they are able to actually stay on even ground with Shadik and his crew. So I thought that was really great. I love that it's called Gund technology, and they basically show Galley / Alita from Battle Angel Alita in one shot of the show, which is called Gundam in Japan, not Battle Angel Alita. So, I don't know, that was probably intentional. But I like that. So there are a bunch of fun little nods there too. If one has watched Revolutionary Girl Utena, there are probably enough nods in there as well. For fans of that show, I would assume there are. I haven't seen it, but
Utena has been sitting in my Crunchyroll queue for a very long time, and I just need to watch it.
Yes, Sam. I probably after this show is done, after Witch from Mercury is done, or in the break between now the two. I don't even know when is the second season of Witch from Mercury supposed to drop. April. Oh, it's coming up. All right, that's good.
Yes, it's very soon.
So after we're done with that, if it only gets 2 seasons, maybe it's going to be 48 episodes or something. We'll see. But
yeah, if it's longer, then they kind of broke it up real weird because, most of the past ones are broken up into like
226s, right? Or 224s.
Yeah, 24s, 26s into cours, seasons, whatever you want to freaking call them, whatever you want. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. But yeah, I'll check it out after that, probably after this show is wrapped up, to see if how many commonalities are in there. And if there's another break, if we get more seasons after the one in April, which might be the case, we'll see, then I'll maybe watch it in between those. But yeah, I thought this was one of the most promising Gundam shows in recent time. Big asterisk. I think I've said this about the first season of Iron-Blooded Orphans too.
I hope I hope it keeps the momentum going.
Yes, same. I mean, there are so many interesting seeds, planted here with all the characters in here. Like, what is actually up with Suletta? Like, what is going on with her? What's going on with her mom? Right? Will all my weird suspicions become reality, or am I super off the course? But,
I think you're onto something with certain parts. With other parts, I'm not 100%.
Yeah, me neither. But I just want to put it out there. I love putting weird theories out there and see how much of that turns out to be true. Because, some of those are safe bets. Because Prospera is she's very deftly manipulating Suletta, like, in the final episode to go a certain route. Like she programmed her with that mantra of take a step forward to gain two, right?
Yeah.
Like she manipulated her with that mantra all her life to do her bidding, or it's a code phrase or something that activates Suletta in a certain way. Because she gets this empty stare, right? Like, okay, now I have my mission or something like that. It feels like it's a trigger phrase or something. And that's why she's also always repeating it. But when her mom says it, she kind of starts just doing what her mom wants. Like she's putting her under a spell. And that's giving me Maid super bad guy, also shitty anime mom vibes. So we'll see where that goes. I have no idea. These are all just assumptions and suspicions. Let's see where it goes. But we have enough interesting other characters that still have big question marks over their head, and at least in terms of where they will go. Murine, Guel, Nika, like you mentioned, Shadik, Elan, some of the companies and where they will go, especially Pale, I guess. That's the most interesting one, I would say. There's a bunch of interesting stuff still in the show that could take some really, really riveting developments in the second season. But since it's Gundam, we can't be sure. Maybe wait for our review of season 2 to determine, hey, this is a really good Gundam show until the very end this time around. Hooray! So we'll see. We'll see where it goes. I mean, like I said, Okuchi has definitely done some really cool shows. He also has written some pretty bad ones that went really off the rail after a short while, or even in the beginning. So we'll see. We'll see. Whatever happens may happen. Maybe this is one of his good ones. Maybe this is another Skate the Infinity. Maybe not in terms of craziness, although maybe going crazy in a different way. But let's just hope it's not another Valvrave or...
Don't speak that into reality.
Yes, so we'll see where it goes. But so far it seems super promising. It looks pretty. The music by Takashi Omawa is great, who has also done the music for Phantasy Star Online 2, the animation. That's great. Like, the whole presentation is fantastic, and there are a bunch of cool characters in there. And I like the angle with the fresh angle with the school duels, at least fresh for Gundam. I like the corporate warfare stuff and building your own company from scratch and stuff like that, and where they actually want to take the Gundam, which is, anti-war stuff, which of course won't pan out. We know that. It's Gundam. But, at least they have the ambition. So that's cool. And I'm really interested to see where the show goes, and it seems you are too.
Oh, for sure. There's still so much I want to know. Tell me. Yeah,
they probably will do in the second season. At least some of it, unless we get even more seasons after that. So, yeah, we'll see. John, again, where can people watch this show?
It's definitely on Crunchyroll. I believe you can also watch it on Sunrise's website, Gundam.info, which I believe just redirects to YouTube. And it's another show that I think it's on Netflix in certain territories. It's easy to find. But yeah, if you don't want to pay for a streaming service, it's on YouTube.
Yeah, definitely check it out. I think it's one of the most promising Gundam shows, again, with a big asterisk, in recent times. And I can't wait to see where we go from here. Probably space. And that is a wrap on the 140th episode of Anime Brain Freeze. All the music in this podcast is from the Double Dragon Neon soundtrack by the amazing Jake Kaufman. Please go to virt.bandcamp.com and check out his awesome work. Our show is available on most of the popular podcast services, but it's always worth visiting animebrainfreeze.com for our review index and more. Leave us comments and questions on YouTube, follow us on Twitter at AnyBrainFreeze, or send an email to animebrainfreeze@gmail.com. We would love to read your feedback. Thanks for tuning in, we hope you had a good time, and please join us again on our next episode. Macht's gut!
Take care, everybody. Next time on Anime Brain Freeze.
The threats of the Joestar legacy
Converge in the least likely of places, Florida.